Welcome to the Contrarians welcome to the Contrarians and welcome to Wednesday. Tonight is the Contrarians live chat. The topic, album covers that broke the bank. Here we go. This is going to be good. We want to hear from you. It's like a plane crash. Anyway, hey, welcome everybody. Hey, it's Wednesday. It's the live chat. We are talking about album covers that broke the bank. So, you got everyone in the chat. All you people are hardcore album people. You know what I'm talking about. There are albums back in the day where they really overproduced them. They'd have die cuts. They'd be embossed. They'd be like a mirror. We're talking about all these albums that cost the record company some money. So we're going to keep it loose. We want to hear from you what your favorites are. And tonight we're just going to go, I've already got it all set up. We're going to start with Jamie Laszlo on this one. But before we start, I want to welcome the panel, Jamie, Todd, and Peter Kerr. Of course, Martin Popoff and I are here at the helm. So, Jamie, you want to start us off?
Sure. I think we all know what I'm going to talk about.
Oh, it's already up because I failed, of course. So there you go. I'm not ready.
Captain Beyond. It has a lenticular cover there for 1972. And I mean, Captain Beyond didn't have a lot of cash. It wasn't like they were the Rolling Stones, what they did 5 years earlier with their lenticular Satan's Majesty's Request of Hell, or whatever the hell that album's called. Looks really cool. Looks three-dimensional with the stars in front of the little Captain Beyond guy. But here's the thing. If you're just starting off buying vinyl, I don't know if there is anyone out there doing it, and you want like something affordable, but kind of easy to find, but kind of hard to find, go to one record show. You'll find this. You find it for like 40, 50 bucks. Put it in your collection, and then you got something, spicing up the collection. Another one, you can find this probably at the same record show, Buckingham Nicks, another 50 bucks. Walk out with $100 you spent, and you got a couple of nice little cornerstones to your collection.
Jamie, I got mine for $1. Just wanted to let you know that.
That was back in 1989.
A long time ago.
That was in the 90s. Hey, I'd love to throw it up.
Yes, I know. You threw that out before. Rolling Stones, Sticky Fingers. We all get the joke. Ha, 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 Sticky Fingers. I wanted to talk about this one because, the zipper is cool and everything. You might go into a record store and you'll find like a piece of cardboard over the zipper, and you're like, what's going on? Is it like too phallic? They can't show it? No. If you own this record, put cardboard over the zipper, because if it's in a tight squeeze, the zipper might damage the record that's pressed up against it. So you always want to have a cushion there. So see, I'm giving lessons today on today's program.
It's like school here.
Yes. And the next one, which was the cover art or thumbnail or whatever you want to talk about it, Twisted Sister Come Out and Play. I saw this tour. I actually went because Dokken was opening up, and I wanted to see Dokken. My buddy wanted to see Twisted Sister, so it was perfect. Dee Snider on the tour. He did come out of the manhole like that. I got this record like maybe 5 years ago in a dollar bin. The record is beat to hell and doesn't play very well. But that's all right. I didn't buy it for the music. If it was a near mint, I probably still wouldn't buy it. The only reason I wanted it was for that.
What are you trying to say? You're not into Twisted Sister? Is that what you're saying?
I like some Twisted Sister, but that's not a great album.
Okay. All right.
But it's better than Love Is for Suckers.
All right. Well, I'll take your word.
Hey, before we move on, I just wanted to put in a little welcome to Marlon Hill and Steve Poleri is here. BM Bull, William Walker. Thank you for the donation. $10 there. Very nice. Jason. Michael Easter. So we're all ready to roll. Hopefully,
Marlon says he doesn't understand the topic.
Wait a minute. We better talk about it. Martin.
These are fancy album covers that do things.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So Marlon, the idea is, as Grant mentioned, just any kind of extra production values put into an album cover, and we haven't stuck strictly with vinyl. I think there's going to be, at least for me, there's a few CDs coming, it's generally vinyl, because back then it was just always kind of more interesting. CDs is almost like the profusion of live albums. You've got the profusion of all sorts of doodads when it comes to CDs and production values. But back in the vinyl vinyl days, there's all these standard ones that were all kind of cool and stood out. And broke the bank, cost the label some money. Of course, probably in most cases, the label's charging that back to the band anyways against the royalties. That's actually a really good question, because I've heard all sorts of things getting charged back to bands, but I'm not so sure that things like expensive cover art was charged back to the bands. That'd be an interesting question to see how often or if that ever happens. So without further ado, let's turn it over to Todd.
All right.
Okay. Well, my first one is goes along with my shirt here. Todd Rundgren, A Wizard, a True Star, and this is the Record Store Day reissue of this, and it's die cut, and I should have pulled this out before. It's see how all the edges are like a shape, and then when you open it up, it's got this little collage, but all the corners are shaped. And then when you pull the sleeve out, the sleeve is also got the same kind of edges on it. And I'm pretty sure that by the mid to late 70s, I think the late 70s, this turned into square. So
what colors? Hey,
long.
Todd, what color's the vinyl on that? Show us the vinyl real quick.
You know what? I think it's purple. Yeah, it's purple splatter.
Oh, how cool is that?
And red. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Love it.
So my next one, I'm not so sure that this one really broke the bank, because they probably didn't do but a couple thousand of them. But this is Elder's Innate Passage from 2022, and it's pretty cool because it's die cut, and it's got it's got a circle there, but each sleeve has a different picture. So when you turn, there's the sleeve for the second record, and then I'm pretty sure, I think you can, it's the same on the other side. And then there's the lyric sheet that also is cool, visible in there behind the other two. And actually, Elder isn't it's not the first one that they've done that was really nice. A couple albums before that, they did Reflection of a Floating World, and this is kind of raised like shiny black, and then
embossed.
And then the back cover is that way too. And so this is really nice as well. But speaking of that, my third one is Genesis Invisible Touch. Now, I don't know how much this actually really costs, but this is embossed like here. It's got this texture. And the cool thing about this one is they never stopped. Well, they stopped making these eventually, and now they're reissued. But they never, cheaped out and made this not embossed later on. And the reissues are embossed. So it's kind of cool.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Love it. All right, Martin, you can go. You're up.
Okay, so my first one is XTC Black Sea. This is my favorite XTC album. I love it to death. And it came in a black plastic bag like this with silver type for the XTC there. And then inside you got this, this probably broke the bank a little too. A bit of an expensive photo shoot. We never really thought of that. And then it's got an inner sleeve as well, an inner lyric sleeve. And I thought, just for kicks, I hope this isn't anybody's pick. Alan Parsons Project Stereotomy. Did anybody pick that?
I sure did, Mark.
Yep.
Did you? Did you?
He did. Might as well throw it up. There it
Did I
goes.
mention that? Did I mention that? This one also came in a plastic bag. I just don't own it anymore. The first Buzzcocks album, but when I bought this as a new release, I think it's a silver plastic bag with this type. And by the way, in printing talk, this would be an expensive cover as well, because you've got a 4-color process picture here made out of CMYK. Mm-hmm. You've got silver ink, which is more expensive, and you've got neon ink for the Buzzcocks in orange there. There it is on the back. So this is like a 6-color job, which is expensive in itself. And then just for kicks, actually, no, this is my next choice, but it lines up a little bit, or it segues, because we have the famed paper bag for Led Zeppelin In Through the Outdoor. So there's your segue. But then, of course, the expensive thing about it, 2 expensive things about it, is the front covers. They gave you, I think there's 6 different scenes that you can get for the front cover. And then on the inner sleeve, if you wet the inner sleeve, it turns colors like that.
Yeah, it's like a watercolor or something.
So yeah, you put water on it. It's like those paint by number things for kids kind of thing. So that's my choice 2. And then my next one, not particularly exciting, but Alice Cooper from the inside, which was a die cut where you get the gates where you open up Alice's head and you get inside the asylum where he went to dry out, so to speak. And this is very similar to Possessed Seven Gates as well, right? It does the
Yes, it is.
kind of a gatefold on it as well, right? So those are my first three.
Right. Martin, I have a question real quick before we go on.
Yep.
Your copy of Black Sea with the black bag, is that a UK? Is that a Canadian press? Because all the ones I saw in the States were in a green bag.
Canadian.
Like this. That's
Canadian.
a Canadian. All right.
Green, eh? That's cool.
Well, they were in a paper green like this. And this.
That's wicked. Yeah. No, this is plastic black.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And before we move on to our Australian contingent, let's just see who else is here. We've got Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here. Yeah, with Doodahs and stuff. Living in the Past, Thick as a Brick. I'm going to be bringing up Thick as a Brick shortly. Alan Parsons' Tale of Mystery, Booklet, Gatefold, Satanic Majesties. Yeah, so they're coming in. PIL Metal Box is a famous one. I don't know if anybody's got these, so I'll just go through them quickly.
We'll find out.
Original pressing from the inside is what I just presented. Shine, blah, blah, blah. Stand Up. Yeah, that's a cool one. That might be coming up a little later. So over to Peter.
All right.
Okay, well, I'll start it off. This has got a bit of a theme called the Sgt. Pepper effect. So Sgt. Pepper, you know, the Beatles classic, where album was Art of 1967, and every band that sort of followed the Beatles' coattails had to do something arty. So here we have the Satanic Majesty's Request, and this copy is actually a 3D version. I don't know if you can see it, which is all very, very nifty. So they did that. It's all very intricately put together. So it's the Rolling Stones. Next one is World Party of the 80s, Private Revolution. Again, I haven't got the album here, but if you look at it, it's one of those ones that's kind of psychedelic, very staged, and it sort of has a lineage back to Sgt. Pepper's and the Beatles. And then you finish off the suite with the Tears for Fears, Seeds of Love. And again, they spent millions on this album because it took like 2 years to actually record, and the album cover just shows every inch of the luxury and budget that they spent on this album cover. Very psychedelic.
Nice.
And there you have, it's all there. Tears for Fears, Seeds of Love.
Very cool. All right. Over to Grant.
All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're going to go back in time because, you know, think about a lot of these bands. Think about how many of these bands from the 60s really, how many of these bands did they really pump money into? So I'm going to go back to 1965 and I'm going to go to an album, Beach Boys Party. Now you're thinking, oh, Beach Boys Party. Well, they pumped some money into this because, for one, it's a gatefold, which is cool. But they also, and this is a rare one because these are still intact, they had all these little cards that you could rip apart and you could trade them amongst your friends. So everyone could have Dennis Wilson in their wallet. But anyway, this is still cool. I think I got this at Used Kids for $4 back in the day. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Just to throw that out for Jamie Laszlo. Another one we're going to talk about, the Beatles, 1967, Sgt. Pepper. Obviously, they pump money into this. You've got the beautiful, there you go. You've got that beautiful photo shoot. I'm not sure if this has it doesn't have it, but you've got the beautiful inner sleeve. Now, if this had the actual record sleeve, it was originally designed by The Fool. And of course, I looked for it and it's somewhere, but they pumped some money into this record. Of course, it's the Beatles. Spare no expense.
And Grant, that was the first lyrics ever printed on an album ever on the back.
Nice.
There you go. All right. Now, the other one I'm going to mention is because DC, Daryl Collins and I did a show on Grand Funk, and we're going through the catalog. And, you know, I'm not a particularly a Grand Funk person, but he's trying to turn me on to it. And we looked at one, E Pluribus Funk. Now, I don't have a copy of this because I'm in my right mind, but originally this thing was cut. It came out as
Peter, you might want to hit your mute, eh? We can hear the birds going away.
All right, sorry.
Oh. Well, anyway, this was die cut, it's embossed, and it's silver to boot. So they pumped some money into Grand Funk, but we're talking 1971. What year was it when Grand Funk sold out Shea Stadium? Like 1970? Hell, maybe it was 71. So, at this point, Capitol was backing them, but the packaging on this is incredible. But like Todd mentioned with Todd Rundgren, eventually they got rid of that die cut round, cover and just went to a traditional square cover. But this is the epitome of pumping money into an album cover or production, even though it's a horrible record. But
no, it's not. Interview with Mark Farner on Rock Daydream Nation. Watch it.
Nice.
It's got
funny,
a lot of Mark Farner. It's got too
used...
much Mark Farner on there for me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You see those in the used store all the time. They're very scuffed up, right? That silver did not age well in the used bins. That's for sure.
Well, it's a party record,
Yeah, anything that had silver sort of aged, didn't it? Sort of mirror or shiny. It just wasn't built to last, was it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, it's like, I didn't mention it and no one else mentioned it, but Kiss Double Platinum.
Oh, yeah.
Think about that. Double Platinum would wear away eventually, Yeah. There is a story on that. I read that somewhere, but it wasn't meant to last. But anyway, so there we go. Martin, do we want to look at any comments real quick?
Yeah, let's see what we got over here. So we've got Pink Floyd Wish You Were Here mentioned again. Jethro Tull Living in the Past. Or no, hang on. Those were the ones from before. Let's see. Grand Funk Sucks, says William Walker. I tend to concur.
Okay, there you go.
I have a hard time getting into them myself.
The original 45.
It's Contrarians, folks. I don't care.
Big Black Bulldozer, Streetwalkers, Vicious but Fair. Mad Cats. Yeah, Mad Cats is a funny one from up here in Canada that had a die cut with these little bars, and they always ripped up. You saw them in the used stores all the time. Oh, plus it was yellow vinyl, I believe. A Momentary Lapse of Reason had cost a lot with all the beds on the beach. Yeah, exactly, that kind of thing. Sweet Give Us a Wink with the die cut. You pull the eyes out thing, right?
Great one.
That thing, didn't work so hot. Anima, 10,000 Days, Tool. But all right, turn over to Jamie.
All right. Speaking of Tool, and I just noticed I went out of order, Grant, on my list.
So I know that. I was
glad you went with the flow there.
I do that. I have to with you people.
Good job.
So anyway, I'm ready.
Speaking of Tool, they always do crazy things. They're always upping the last package, whatever it is. This 3D thing that took me literally about 18 years to figure out how to do. So, what was it? 3 years ago or so, they released Fear Inoculum. And it came in this CD pack, and a lot of people have seen this. You open it up, and there's a TV there, and it plays images on the TV and does music.
Yours works.
Wow.
Yeah, and you're like, well, what does it take? A battery? No, it comes with a charger tucked in here, and you plug it in, and you charge your CD case. And these things were going for like. What are they charging? About $50 for this or so when it first came out? Something like that.
Didn't it sell out though really fast?
Yeah, and then everyone wanted it, and then they made more, and then people were like, I spent $120 on this last week, and now they made more. So
interesting.
Yeah, Lord knows how they're going to top this with the next one. I don't know if a little Princess Leia is going to come up and say, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I don't know.
Maybe it's Princess Leia in her gold outfit.
Kind of.
That might be worth it.
Something. This one, everybody's seen this one. Someone mentioned it. But you know what? This had probably cost a lot of money. I mean, Jethro Tull, they weren't big when Stand Up came out. This is only their second album. And they had to get, extra machines to do extra things to glue these guys down there. And I'm sure that cost some money. Plus, I'm not going to say it's hard to find one in good condition that pops up like that and nothing's ripped, but I'm glad I got one.
Yeah, I've got a original UK island pressing on the pink label of that. It's pretty great.
Nice.
And you guys, if you're not putting up my pick before I talk about them, you're picking my picks before I talk about it. Stereotomy. I always thought this album was cool. And here's the thing. So it comes in a bag, a bag that's two colors. So, it's seamed here and it's red on the back and blue on the front. And the album cover in the Can you get yours out? I can't get mine out, Martin.
No, I can't. It's stuck in there.
It's stuck.
It's the whole
But here's the-
polyvinyl thing, right?
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
it's been in there since '87.
Well, just look at the image.
Yeah,
Isn't that
you
what it
see
looks like?
the image there. Thank you, Grant, for the image.
Of
There's
course, of
letters
course.
between the letters of stereotomy, and you can't see that because this colored bag is blocking out those colors. And then there's colors on the back on the cardboard that you can't see through the red bag, and you take it out and you see things that you couldn't see while it was in the bag. And it's, a pretty thick bag. Even, the inner sleeve is kind of cool and makes
that's
it look
cool.
like it has, pixels and such. Was that 3? Am I done?
Yeah, that's 3.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Over to Todd.
Todd Evans.
Jamie, I remember being in college when that came out, and it was just a couple of years after CDs were going for a while. And I remember my roommate saying, "Don't buy the CD. You're gonna want the vinyl." And I was like, "Why?" And then I saw it. So my next one is OMD, The Punishment of Luxury. I think this is 2017. Yeah, this is cool because it doesn't really look like it's die cut, but when you pull it out, see it's
very nice.
These colors on here, and then you can flip it over and have it. This isn't nearly as dramatic, but you can have it be black and white and blue like that. And just because the last time somebody asked, this is yellow, which is very nice. And what's funny is they spent a lot of money on that one, and then the one that just came out a couple of months ago is Bauhaus Staircase is just 2 color, and this is the CD and no booklet or anything, just this. So maybe they spent all the money. The next one is ELO Out of the Blue. And ELO Out of the Blue is a really nice cover anyway, because when you open it up in the middle, it's got this spaceship bridge, and it's got a couple of things in it. Mine has the poster. So mine has the poster, and it says "I Love Blue" there. Grant's has the merch ad, which I
look at that
well.
stylish shirt.
Yeah. My favorite one of those is I didn't want to use it because the cover is infamously bad, but ELP Love Beach has the most hysterical merch booklet that's got these silver mannequins wearing ELP shirts. It's ridiculous. But anyway, the another thing that this comes with, and I thought mine had it, but it doesn't, is on the inside.
I do have it.
You do have it.
I
Good.
do have it.
Jamie
I
gave
knew
me
I
this
had it.
picture,
It was
but
in the inside
good.
of it.
All right.
Oh, well, I can't open it all the way.
You have to build it.
Yeah, you have to put it together, and it
Here it
comes
is.
out like this.
I
It's
knew
like
I'd had it.
Wow.
a
Damn it.
spaceship, but it's got like a little antenna thing that comes out of it. Yeah. Excellent. I'm so glad you had that, Grant.
Try this at home, kids.
It's not all smoke and mirrors here on this end.
Why don't we watch Grant build it for the rest of the show?
I can't. It's not built. I can't touch it. I can't even look at it. Mustn't have been touched.
So my next one is Pylon Chomp, and it's designed after, this is a Pylon in Athens, Georgia band. It's designed like a postcard, and if you look at the top of it, it's got these little die cut edges. And if you purchase the original album, this is a reissue, but the original album from back in 83
on DD Rex.
had the postcard that they got this picture out of from, like a real like a little postcard that was the real deal, and it was scalloped like this all the way around, and they didn't do that for this one. But
Got to cut some costs.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, just want to check the comments here. We've got, Pylon was a great band, says Steve Poleri. Kyle Elster says, Love Gun. I still have the Pop Gun. Producers make the heat. Seems to me there are a few different scenes on the same cover. Chicago,
two different
album with
ones.
a City Block poster.
Yes.
Tooth and Nail cover, vinyl, and other for cassette due to the vinyl would not fit the right to tape. Okay. All right. So my next one is the Who Live at Leeds. Now I ended up with, I don't know why I have 2 of these, but I have 2 of these and they're slightly different. One is got a little bit of a gloss on it, and the text is a little different, and yet the backs of them say exactly the same thing. They're both kind of US copies, and the color's a little different, but they're both the same on the inside. I think one's missing one insert or whatever, but So you open the gatefold, and it's just got these little flaps in the record there. And then, of course, it's famed for having all these paper inserts that look like, internal documents from the Who. So we've got that. We've got something from the agency here. We've got some bills. What is this? Just some sort of press thing. Some hand typed and then changed lyrics. We've got a Who promo shot. And then some other little assorted bills. That's a delivery notice. This one looks like it's, and so yeah, famously people thought they were getting out in the marketplace. They'd think some of these things were actually official Who paper goods.
I saw that recently. I saw that recently on Marketplace.
Oh yeah. So this is like, I added it up. It's like 9 pieces or something, and then I think one of them might just have 8. So I think the other one's missing the promo thing. But anyway, so that's kind of cool. And my next one is so Kiss Psycho Circus has the lenticular. It's funny. Before Jamie said that earlier, I never look up how to say this. I always go reticulated, but Kiss is lenticular. But yeah, so the Kiss had that for Psycho Circus, and then Tea Party did the same thing. They had one of these with the little Buddha dancing. So that was one, and then there is the Tool one that had that as well. And I pulled this out as well. The other Tool. And I could never make this thing work. This is a stereoscope, right? I think that's what they call this.
Yeah, you don't put your eyes too close to it. That's what I was doing.
I've seen them in museums and stuff and played with them, and they work great, like the actual ones from the 1920s or whatever. But yeah, there you go. Three different lenticulars. And then my last one of this 3 is somewhat related. It's Voivod Outer Limits, where you actually get the 3D glasses, and it's all 3D, right? Nice. So all the shots are done in this kind of really Michelle, very minimalist Michelle 3D. And then I thought it was interesting that also had LA Guns Hollywood Vampires, which is also 3D, and you've got the little 3D glasses with that as well. So I had 2 of those with the 3D, and that is my 3. Over to Peter.
All right.
Okay. Well, the next 2 I'm going to show is about props, and expensive props, and how it would have a bit of a budget. Oasis, Be Here Now, 1997. So this was the follow-up to What's the Story, Morning Glory. This was a bit of a flop. So you look at it, somebody described the album cover as Alice in Wonderland meets Apocalypse Now. So you've got a limo in the pool, which is like a tribute to Keith Moon. You've got all these different sort of props that sort of relate to the songs on the album. But the album, it's not very good. It's bloated, and it cost them millions and millions of pounds, and was supposed to be their big breakthrough in America, but I think it basically sold diddly squat. So Oasis, Be Here Now, and you look, that's all part of the budget. Very excessive.
Morning Glory was their breakthrough here, if you ask me.
Yeah, it didn't sort of was a $1 million seller. I think they were looking for the U2 big seller, breakthrough to like number 1, and this one just didn't do it for them. In Excess, Elegantly Wasted. So this was the very final album, and again, you've got it's all kind of set. You've got a car crash. You've got the members of the band. This was their last album. It absolutely flopped. And if you listen to the album, you can understand why, because it sounds like they are kind of wasted. There's no hit singles across the whole album, but this is sort of in the era where album art was very much, let's kind of do a movie production. And I don't know if you ever did the back cover, Grant, because it shows.
Well, I did, but I don't have it.
Okay, all right. Well, it just shows it's sort of like 2 scenes like in a movie, and it all relates to a car crash, and it's sort of very prophetic as to what was happening, because Michael Hutchence didn't live much longer past this album, In Excess, Elegantly Wasted. All right, change of pace. We'll go to Alice Cooper and Schools Out. So I haven't got the album as it was produced, the first pressing, but you folded out the album and it was like a school desk, And there was also a pair of panties, a paper pair of panties, and this was the first pressing. It is worth a bit, but this
Martin's got it. Martin's got it.
In very good condition. Wonderful.
Very nice.
So this is in the era of what Martin was talking about in earlier albums, where you just had the bells and whistles of different things that you'd find in albums, and this was it. So this would have definitely blown the budget in respect of Schools Out. But it was the breakout album for Alice, I think #1 or what, close to, and that broke him big, and I guess they had the budget behind it. So Alice Cooper, Schools Out, blow the budget.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. My next one, ladies and gentlemen, we've already talked about the Beatles once, but for God's sakes, we're going to talk about the Beatles again. And we're going to talk about the White Album, of course. This is the reissue, the special edition that came out in 1978. But the original pressing, what was cool about this, and all the Beatles fans know this, they were all individually numbered, which is cool. And it had a nice poster. Here's the poster. I'm not going to unfold it. And it also had 4 8x10 photos. The thing that was cool in 1978 was that they pressed it on white vinyl. There you go. But yeah, but the Beatles were easy because Capitol and EMI, Parlophone, they weren't worried about pumping money into the Beatles. They knew it would all come back. Yeah, they weren't afraid of that. Now, this one, I'm embarrassed to say that I don't have a physical copy. God knows Martin's got one. And I know all you guys probably have one. And I'm going to bring up Led Zeppelin Physical Graffiti, which has the die cut cover. There, Jamie Laszlo's going to it. So you could pull it out and, the windows would move. He's looking. Oh, goodness gracious.
It's been misfiled.
It's misfiled. He can't find it. But anyway, think about it. Double record set, 1975. They pumped money into this thing. There you go. Jamie, just demonstrate for the people.
And they have a CD reissue that does this too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I got that in the back.
Yeah, but how cool is that?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have a copy of it, unfortunately. But I
It's
always
got the little
thought it was
photographs
great.
on the back. Yeah. Photographs on the back, letters on the one side. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a great one. All right, the other one, I seem to be stuck in the 60s, but we're going to go with something which is kind of funny because by the time that this record came out, the Monkees were off the air. But they were still pumping money into it. And of course, the Monkees had a film called Head, but they put an album out with this mirrored image. And the album flopped. Everything flopped. The movie flopped. Everything. I don't know. It just wasn't the time for the Monkees anymore. They had their moment. But this is a great record. If you do like the Monkees, I would recommend you checking this out. But you have to admit, pretty cool cover, huh?
You still managed to work in the Monkees.
I love the Monkees.
I wanted to pick that, but I didn't. I don't have one, so I'm glad.
There
you
you
picked
go.
It,
so there you go. I worked the Monkees in and the Beatles and the Beach Boys again.
All right.
Let
me just look over to the comments here. What we've got going on. 1960s were an innovative time. No shame, says Michael Easter. Megadeth seemed to put some cash and thought into their design. The sick and the dying, the dead pays attention to detail. Maybe Nick Lowe, Jesus of Cool, with all the different outfits and poses.
That's
Dillinger
cool.
Escape Pan option. Let's see. William Walker. Come now, Grant. If you talk about the Beatles twice, you must talk about Iron Maiden 3 times, he says.
Well, that won't happen, William Walker. You know me better than that.
Yeah, Budgie, the definitive anthology, and Ecstasy of Fumbling. Speaking of those silver covers, Tredegar, which was a Budgie offshoot band, an obscure album in 1986, had embossing and silver cover on that one. $1 Billion Babies has the little perforated pictures, just like Beatles' White Album does, right? Beatles Odessa was a red velvet. Muscle of Love cover. Yeah, that's a whole thing too. All right, Jamie, let's see your last 4.
Okay, I'm going to fly through these because I thought of some honorable mentions. Green Lung, Black Harvest, a newer band. It's got the stained glass window, and then it comes out, leaving just the empty window. But you know what?
Oh, no.
You know what?
You just made a deposit.
over time, if you played with this too much, these have like a lifespan of 6 months.
Yeah.
So I really don't mess with that. I played a CD version of that. Yeah. And then Torch, another newish band, kind of like stoner rock meets Hum, if you remember Hum from the 90s. This album cover I bought at their concert Restarter. It glows in the dark. The whole thing glows in the dark. All the green. So that's really cool. And this is a little band, Child Bite. I saw them live, and man, they put on a hell of a show. The lead singer it's pretty much his band, and he reminded me of a hardcore, like the music's kind of hardcore. But if Crazy World of Arthur Brown did hardcore, it'd be Child Bite. And he was a struggling artist, starving artist. They didn't have to put all this, tinfoil, or what do you call it, like foil on it, and you got foil numbers over the titles of the songs. They didn't have to put that extra money into it, and he did because he's a showman. So I wanted to mention that. And this is Pulling a Catino. That's what we say over A Sea of Tranquility, because I'm going to cheat a little bit. 1978, Superman came out. 1980, Superman 2 came out. Nothing crazy about the cover, but they put some money. This is 1980 now. And in the actual grooves, you have the Superman logo. And normally, even these days, if you see something like that, like the laser etching, it's on a part of the vinyl that doesn't play. This is on the part that plays. So
Styx is on the part that plays.
Yeah, they did that back in the 70s, and they don't really do it now.
Yeah, I think
Split
Ends, True Colors.
Yeah, True Colors. Sorry. Yeah.
Anomaly, Ace Frehley.
Yeah.
It came with instructions.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
That's
I had that. I don't have it anymore.
How to fold the pyramid.
Yeah.
This one has graphic. For years and years and years, decades, I was like, why are these cut off? Then I took a picture of it one time and posted it to my vinyl Facebook page. I was like, oh my God, it looks like a cube. That's why they did that. I didn't know until I saw a picture of my album. Chicago Live. Chicago released a lot of posters with their albums. And this one that came with Chicago Live cost some money.
Todd, you have that?
I have had it in the past. Yeah. It's not one of my favorite live albums. But
the poster? Did you have the poster?
It sure comes with a lot of stuff.
Wow, look how big the poster is, though.
That's not a poster,
enormous.
it's a blanket.
It's a billboard.
It's a blanket.
That's pretty
I can't see Jamie's disappearing.
Makes Jamie look really small.
And it fits in the album. So there you go.
Nice.
There's 4 and 3 bonus.
Wow.
Very cool.
Oh my God, that's the biggest poster I've ever seen ever.
That is.
Well, one day I'll pull out my promo Peter Gabriel one that I bought at auction from Peter Gabriel's old manager. It's a black and white version of the Melt cover that's 128 square feet.
Wow, but that's not in an album though, is it? You don't take it out of an album.
4 massive panels, and they're all folded up, and it's It's
so what was the idea to put it up on a
it must be
stadium or what?
No, more like a side of a building or something.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like side of a brick building or something. But anyways, over to Todd. Your last 4.
So I'm going to show Uriah Heep. Look at yourself. Speaking of things, there's my my computer screen. It's silver, so you can look at yourself. And the funny thing about this one is it's just a piece of
off each other.
It's just a piece of silver cardboard in the inside, and so the inside is just your typical.
Let's have a reflectathon.
We could have a reflectathon.
You might be able to break YouTube with that idea. You should try it.
Look at yourself, and in fact, it actually has an ad for "Look at yourself" inside. Look at
Here's
yourself.
the reissue.
Who's the odd one out who doesn't have Uriah Heep on him?
God.
I better go get it.
Better hurry, Peter. Run.
I better grab it.
So that's that one. And then I picked this one as this next one as an example of a trifold. And then I thought of another one, and I'll show that one too that I probably should have picked. But this is Yes Going for the One, and it opens up to a very large hypnosis
You know what?
sleeve.
I forgot that
And
was a
then-
trifold.
And then the
Yeah, I
inside
did
of it is pretty nice too. Some pretty nice. Which side? Some pretty nice band photos there.
Yeah.
And then it dawned on me that if I was going to pick one of these, I probably should have picked this one. So this is a bonus pick. This is Rush All the World's a Stage that opens up and gives you an advert of what else you can buy, and then a whole bunch of pictures on the inside. And what's funny about this one is that it was cheapened at some point to just folding out one time, and then in the late 80s, it was cheapened again to just one cover with two sleeves inside the single cover. But Polygram did that a lot. They did that with all the Moody Blues albums too.
That's one of
They
those
made 'em.
records when you show that, Todd, it reminds me, it takes me back to when I was a kid. You know, we've done these Rush shows, but I would look at that album cover and just stare at it for hours.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I loved all those live shots.
Yeah,
It
it's
takes
like,
me right back. Yeah, I love it.
especially if you're you're a kid and you're thinking, oh, I'll never get to go see them.
Right.
But and then my next one, this is one of my favorites. This is a CD. This is Very by the Pet Shop Boys, and it's got this like raised little dots on it, and the back is just smooth. It's got a label there, and then the inside, that's the art on the inside. And if you look on the inside, there's a little Chris Lowe there, and then if you can kind of see that there's a bunch of pictures of him if you took this tray out or of them in these crazy outfits. But I always liked that one. And my last one is Steven Wilson, The Future Bites. This one is actually in a sleeve, if I can get it out. And then inside the sleeve, it's like this. And then that's what's inside there. And this one is actually, and what's inside here? There's a booklet that's really cool. It's got a lot of photographs and the lyrics and everything. Yeah, and then this one, in case anybody wonders, is red.
Oh, I love that.
And the CD is actually really nice too. The CD comes in a sleeve, and the box is white, and you can sort of see what it says underneath. And then there's the CD, and then underneath the box, which is sort of transparent, it says the same thing that the album does. And Steven Wilson's he's done this a few times. This is an EP from 3 or 4 years ago called 4.5, and it's also die cut. And so there's a lot of value.
Probably could have brought up the
this
latest
packaging.
Metallica packaging.
Oh yeah, I don't have a vinyl copy, but yeah, that's a good example. And that's it for me.
Okay, just want to check the comments here. Minister of Darkness has mentioned Chicago 8 with poster and t-shirt, iron-on patch, ! Bob Marley, Catch a Fire Sticks, Cornerstone was pretty good. Says Buddy Hepburn with the rear split gatefold outer sleeve and silver carded inner sleeve. Yeah, nice call. Morbid Angel Domination, says Kyle McNeil. Limited edition slime pack. That was never released because it leaked and was toxic. Family Fearless, says Lash LaRue. There's another mention for Look at Yourself. Small Faces, Ogden's Nut Flakes. Yeah, I've got the little, the round CD box of that. Pretty cool. Japanese version of Halloween, The Dark Ride. The booklet has acetate paper with glossy photos, and had to make a longer CD jewel case to fit the booklet in. All right, so my last 4, I'm going with Police Synchronicity, where we know that there were different configurations of the photos and stuff with this. And I wanted to draw a little bit of a parallel with the whole CMYK. When you do CMYK printing, you can have Dogman came in like red, blue, and yellow. Maybe that's it. But anyways, mine is yellow. And same with Motley Crue. This came with, mine's yellow here, coincidentally, as well. But this came in red, at least, maybe some other colors. But yeah, you can do that with those. And my next one is Jethro Tull, Thick as a Brick. This is a famous one. I no longer have the vinyl, unfortunately. But when they did it on CD, they made it faithful. First, you get a very nice little cardboard box with it, so they're starting with the whole newspaper article there, and then you get the CD. But they did faithfully reproduce, the newspaper that you got with the original vinyl. So that's a famous one from Jethro Tull. And then my last one is just to mention, drive home the point about embossing and ink, I suppose, for that matter. So for those about to rock, was first they use a metallic ink, so that is expensive in itself, although it's just a 2-color job, this copper ink and this black. It is gatefold, kind of wasted the inside of it, and it is all embossed. And then, of course, we know that Flick of the Switch was also embossed all throughout. It's just a simple 1-color job, basically, a black ink job. They did give you an inner, typical of AC/DC in their bad album covers, though. They waste a lot of this stuff and they don't do anything really good with it. And of course, Back in Black was embossed as well. So that's an example of embossing with a little bit of ink. And then when you do it with no ink, like the Back in Black here, that's blind embossing. That's what they call blind embossing. So that's embossed with ink, and that's blind embossing. So those are my last ones. Over to Peter. Final 4.
Okay, final 4. I'll whiz through it. Public Image Limited, or PIL, with metal box. So that came in a metal canister. So that would have definitely blown the budget. Just you can't really file that with the rest.
Before you jump in, I did miss one. Yeah, I only did 3. Venus and Mars, a lot of goodies. Hypnosis, little sticker, little doodads, poster, inner. So that's the whole Hypnosis thing. This is kind of the match to Dark Side of the Moon. And then we also, when we just did that recent episode where we did the Glitch in the Hypnosis Matrix, we did this cover art with Dark Side of the Moon. Sorry about that, Peter. Go ahead.
That's all right. Yeah, I haven't got much more to say about Public Image Limited, so that would have been a little bit, that blew the budget.
Yeah.
File that in your record collection.
Because wasn't that, well, I'm going to ask you a question. Wasn't that like, I don't know, I know the UK version of that came out like that, but here in the States, I think it was, wasn't that considered the second album, or what was it called?
Yeah, had a different cover.
Yeah. We didn't pump any money into it over here.
Yeah, and when you see that box that's showing there, where do you always see that? Behind the counter at the cash register, right?
Yes.
Every record store's got one of those behind, sitting up on the shelf.
Yeah, if you let people flip through it, it'll get dents in it if you let people handle it.
Yeah. You can look at it, but just don't touch, folks. Get the gloves out. All right, the next one. Australians, this is like a cow punk band called the Johnnies. Think of the Hoodoo Gurus, but with a Marty Robbins feel to it. Now, the reason why this would have blown the budget is this is one of those albums where it's got those sort of like the circular wheels. It all has different members of the band.
Nice.
So the lead singer was Spencer P. Jones. He's been in a lot of bands like the Beast Suburban, that Aussie garage rock fans would be familiar with. But I picked this because it was on an independent label, Mushroom label, and just to put something like that would have definitely blown out the budget. But worth checking out if you like punk meets country music, the Johnnies, Highlights of a Dangerous Life. Next one I'm going to do is Prince, the Black Album. Now, everyone's asking, why are you picking this, the Black Album? No, there's not much bells and whistles.
Oh, it's black.
Prince, before it was released, 2 weeks out, had an epiphany that I don't want to put this album out. It's evil. I'm in a bad space. So the record company Warner's withdrew the Black Album. Therefore, it comes into this category of blowing the budget because whatever they did, they had to destroy. So there, I have a copy, which sounds like it was recorded on a Walkman, and I got sucked in at a record show. It's an okay album, but apparently there are a couple of copies that are out in the wild, and they are the most expensive valued record that you can get according to Discogs, and I'm talking about 6-figure sums, very high. So Prince, the Black Album, and that's.
But they did reissue it on CD though
in 1997. Yeah. But I'm talking about that first pressing of the vinyl in 1986. Some did slip through and went through into the mainstream before Warner's withdraw it completely. But that's just an example. I mean, 2 million albums, they had to withdraw from public sale or before they released, and I think they must have done a ton on that one. Last one I'm going to pick is Pink Floyd Pulse. I know we've covered this previously. I think, Jamie, you did this in a show a month ago. Just basically, yeah. So on the basis that you've got a CD that's got an LED light that pulses, and the whole sort of rationale behind that is that you get the pulse of a live show. And a couple of folk have said that once they got that CD or album with the pulse, it was still oscillating or flashing a year after they got it. So, but if you look at the design and the packaging, it's just very intricate. And look, Pink Floyd, no expense spared. I think this is one that they definitely broke the budget.
Nice. Cool.
All
right, Grant.
All right. So this was mentioned before. Bee Gees Odessa. Now my copy isn't the one that's fuzzy. This is a later repressing, but you get the idea. It was a gatefold. It's got the graphics, but the ones that came out in 1969 literally were like a velvet painting. They felt like a velvet. They were velvet, as far as I know. I don't know. It was fuzzy felt. And they were red, and it's like this is probably considered the best Bee Gees album because it's very it's like a concept record. It's very creative. It's good. It's great. But I wish I had an original one. The original one came out on Atco. Another one, I was surprised no one here mentioned this. This is kind of like the same kind of thing that Peter talked about. The Rolling Stones Some Girls, which this is the Mobile Fidelity pressing. And of course, when Mobile Fidelity got a hold of it, you don't have Lucille Ball on here anymore, but there were Lucille Ball and I don't know who all else wanted the Stones. They were all up in arms because the Stones had used their images without consent. So the Stones pulled it, repressed it. And as you can see, some of those faces are blocked out, but talk about expensive. They had to go through and repress all these, even though they were already out there in the mass market, but still. But yeah, even Mobile Fidelity, when they put the record out, they couldn't put Lucille Ball on it. The only ones I want to talk about, I couldn't find them in my vast archives, is we already mentioned it. Alice Cooper, Muscle of Love, which came in this cardboard box, and it looks like it's got water stains on it. Great idea. Not such a great record, but, it is what it is. And then Crosby, Stills, and Nash and Young, 1970. And I brought this up before, but, it looks like hand-tooled leather, ladies and gentlemen, with that nice picture on the front. This cost a pretty penny for Atlantic to produce. But, then again, it's Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, so they were behind it. They knew it was going to make some money. So there you go. What's fascinating is some of these really cool album covers that they pump money into some of these bands. Like, look at Frank Zappa Freak Out. Who was Frank Zappa then? To give the guy a double record and a gatefold? It's just weird that they would pump so much money into that for something that hasn't
like all these Chicago albums.
All those Chicago albums. There's another
right
great
from the
example.
get-go with the first one.
Right. It's amazing. Record companies don't make sense to me, but
just
anyway,
before we close up here, let's look at the comments again quickly. We've got Uncle Meat double album with a 16-page booklet, says Steve Poleri. We've got Beatles Butcher cover, Slayer Blood Pack CD singles. They're all dried up and crusty now, says Ryan Potter. D Rockers brought up the Cars Heartbeat City. We got Satanic Majesties again. Groundhogs Who Will Save the World, says Lash LaRue. Chevelle's Gigantic CD cover unfolds to big poster, small label. Grin All Out, Gillen Glory Road. Yeah, I've showed that a few times on this show where it's got the inner booklet in it. Nice big gatefold. Nick Lowe's Jesus Is Cool with all the posters. Yeah, we've
second edition.
There, so. Yeah. All right, Grant, wrap her up.
All right, cool. Well, everybody, I want to thank everybody for coming. A lot of great choices. And we do appreciate everybody in the chat chiming in because this is what makes it so much fun. Without you, we couldn't do this. So, well, I guess we're done. I do want to thank the panel for this week. Todd Evans, Jamie Laszlo, Peter Kerr, and I wish I could get the graphic off, but I can't find it. But That's what happens when you're multitasking. So if you do like these, you could be on these panels. We do have a Patreon. We'd love for you to join. We have a lot of great discussions on there. We have a Ko-fi or a pint. We'd like that. We also like donos. And wasn't it William Walker who gave us a $20
Absolutely.
dono today? Thank you, William Walker. We love you. We appreciate it. It keeps us motivated to keep doing more for you. So there is more on the way. I don't know what we're going to talk about next week, but I'm sure we'll have something. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been great. We'll see the panel. We'll see you in the chat room later, and have a good one. Take care.
Bye.